In 1971, Carly Simon exploded onto the charts with her hit song, That's the Way I've Always Heard It Should Be, and won the Grammy for Best New Artist. Since then, she has become one of the most prolific singer-songwriters with such hits as You're So Vain, Haven't Got Time for the Pain, and Let the River Run. In 1995, she battled back from her legendary stage fright with a sold-out tour, which included this performance at New York City's Grand Central Station.
And tomorrow, we might not be together. I'm no prophet, and I don't know nature's ways. So I'll try and see into your eyes right now, and just stay right here, 'cause these are the good old days. These are the good old days. Stay right here, 'cause these are the good old days. 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 These are good old days.
In 1997, Carly overcame the biggest battle of her life, breast cancer. That struggle led her to her latest album, The Bedroom Tape, which is an intimate account of her recuperation. I am pleased to have her on this broadcast. Welcome back.
Thank you, Charlie. I would say that's definitely an overstatement, and everything you said is an overstatement. I didn't burst on the scene.
Yeah.
I tread lightly up to the mic, and I don't think I ever had a hit that zoomed up the charts, except for You're So Vain, which was in 1974.
Yeah.
But it's interesting what the press
Exploded onto the
It's
charts.
a little hyperbolic.
Yeah, I tend to agree with you. And what else? In other words, do you disagree with you're one of the most prolific singer-songwriters?
Well, let's say I have legs.
Yeah,
that
you do. Yes,
so,
I can't touch that.
So I've gone on for quite a while.
Do you disagree that you battled back from legendary stage fright with a sold-out tour, which included this performance at Grand Central Station?
Yes, I disagree with that.
Because you didn't have stage fright, and you think that that just was somehow the press got into that idea that the reason you weren't performing as much is because you had stage fright?
It's always an oversimplification. It's not quite about stage fright. I wouldn't call it stage fright. I know people who do have stage fright, and it's not what I have. But
what did you have?
what did I? And
you said it's not what I had. I'm following up.
Well, it's also, I don't think that I battled back. In other words, I went on in spite of it.
Yeah. Were you in spite of what?
In spite of whatever I had.
Everybody wrote about this. Were they all wrong?
You mean to call it stage fright?
Yeah. That you had a fear of performing.
I'm uncomfortable in the spotlight. I don't like being the center stage. I would prefer to be a background singer or a tambourine player or, stage part of the crew.
Nobody forced you to go up there.
No, that's right. And I was never intending to. I started out in the business being a songwriter. That's all I wanted to be, and I wanted to write songs and have other people perform them. So that was my first album, my first collection of songs was really to get them to other artists. And lo and behold, after I finished recording it, somebody from the record label called me and said that Cat Stevens had asked me to open his show for him. And I said, I don't do that kind of thing. I don't like to perform. And they said, what would it take to get you on stage? And so I asked for a particular drummer who I knew was unavailable because I knew the artist that he was performing with, and I knew that he was that he wouldn't be able to attend, as it were. But the next day they called me and they said that he was available, so I had no excuses left.
Who was the drummer?
Russ Kunkel.
So when he was available, you had to go.
So he was available, and I went out, and that was April 6th of 1971, and I opened for Cat Stevens, and continued. Once you sort of get an appetite for having an audience, it's feeds on itself. And so once I started to do it, I tended to like the acceptance, and I was bit by the bug, as they say.
Yeah. I love audiences.
You
I
do.
sit here and have
You
conversations every night in which there's no one in the room but you and me. There's no one else here, you know, because we have robotic cameras. But I occasionally will do something in terms of speaking, commencement speeches, or in terms of we'll do a show that's live with or conferences. And I love the immediacy of it. I love hearing the rhythm of an audience, all of that.
So it's the actual, do you prefer it when there are a large number of people in the audience, or do you feel that there's an audience when there are 5 and 6 and 7 people?
Oh, well, I think it's larger than that. But you know, we don't want one so large that you can't see them because of the lights and all of that.
But there
you
are
wanted
some
a certain relationship.
who feel fine if they're performing to masses, huge masses,
Right.
as long as there's a light in their face and they can't see the
Exactly.
audience. And then there's some people like myself who prefer to sit. I mean, for instance, I could sit and play for you and maybe 2 other close friends.
Would you?
Yeah. I mean, that's much,
Yeah.
and yet the people who like to play or don't mind playing for masses as long as they can't see them would be terrified playing for a small group of people.
Robin Williams was here not long ago, and he was talking about how much fun it is now to go out, and he's going back, doing some stand-up now, and not making as many movies right now. And he said he's now playing before like 1,000 or less than that. You know, and he said it's so different than his huge crowds where it loses that sort of
I like to be
element.
able to feel the emotional texture of a person. I like to sort of have a read on you.
Yeah, that's great. Now, have you lost that thing then because of all the things we just said in the last several minutes that we're not calling stage fright, but we're calling something else? Has that gone away because of what you just said?
I don't think I'll ever be the kind of person who loves being on stage, even though I do it, and there are some times in the performance that I love, especially the encore.
Why the encore?
Because I know it's the last song.
The obvious answer.
Yes.
Yeah.